Hello and welcome back. A third video. No video on Friday and now 3 for Sunday. Right, so quite a few mistakes to be fair about this particular solve. This is a quick reminder, this is the second video on this particular puzzle, Equally Dead and Alive. And when I turn over, I will show you a partially solved, essentially where I stopped the last video, a partially solved grid. So there's going to be a bunch of numbers on the grid, etc. If you don't want to see that, stop. If you want to play, link in the description down below. And if you want to sort of see my mess up in the previous solve, there will be, of course, a video that I will link up here, and I'll make sure that there's a link in the description as well. So quite a few mistakes that I've made. I'm going to say first one is, it's not like I haven't come across 3-star, 4-star difficulty rated puzzles that are particularly difficult. The mistake I've made is, as opposed to what I've done previously, where I had the time to just hit pause, walk away, let my kind of subconscious digest it a bit and come back and try and pick it up. I just tried to solve it very close to the post time, so that was a bit ludicrous where I had to, it's kind of like do or die, that just wasn't smart. Now, secondly, and I think we're going to kind of take a look at this, I am going to turn over the grid now, and you can see the following. I'll walk you through the rules in a bit, but I was essentially, because I was so unsure about how Schrödinger cells plays, I was almost like approaching this, the entire thing was almost very speculative. And as a result, because I was a bit worried about the video recording length, I ended up rushing some of my solves, and I fundamentally made a mistake here in row 6, which broke the entire puzzle, just in these 3 cells. Now, we have been given a clue that here is where the breakage is. In fact, we've been actually told what the correct answer is. But I don't feel like there is enough information for a good solve yet. There's plenty of meat left on this bone. Although, like, I'd almost say it's not plenty of meat. It's more like somebody kind of ruffled the feathers of this bird and now it's flying slightly lower, but it's still flying, and there's a lot of work for us to do to be able to actually solve this. So I think I'm actually quite happy to be recording this a second time. Anyway, let me clear the grid so we can take a look at the rules. First one is Schrödinger rules. Now, it means that we have the digits 0 to 9, once each. I can't even pencil mark the 9, I've got too many pencil marks, in every column, row, and square. That means fundamentally that one of these cells, to be able to add 10 digits in a row of 9, kind of column of 9, box of 9, one of these will actually have to have 2 digits inside it. And then obviously it wouldn't be in any of the remaining, in that square /9 /column /row. And it's helpful to just point out that then when you have one Schrödinger cell, which is actually 2 digits, all of the rest obviously can only be 1 digit in the same row, column, and box, because otherwise you're not going to be able to fit in the digits 0 to 9 once each. Right. Now, the value of that particular Schrödinger cell is whatever those 2 digits are summed together. And then the rest of this puzzle, the equality cages, the Kropki dots, and the XV, is all about values, not digits. So if there is a Schrödinger cell, we're interested in the sum of these 2 cells. Let's talk about equality cages first. Cages must have an equal number of low, 1, 2, 3, 4, and high, 6, 7, 8, 9 values. Emphasis here on the fact that there are no 2-digit sums allowed in here. It may be allowed somewhere else, but not inside the equality cages. You have to have an equal number of even digits such as 2, 4, and odd digits such as 7, 9. And the values 0 and 5 are never allowed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I couldn't have 0 and 2 in here. That could be my Schrödinger cell. It's just the value of 2 is allowed. The digit of 0 is allowed. Okay? Now, that's kind of a valid pencil mark for this equality cage. Let's talk about Kropki dots. And actually, I'm going to remove the kind of Schrödinger one because it's kind of useful when you think about this. Right. Actually, here, I'm going to even deliberately make this 2, 7. So we have, again, black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. Normally you would say 7, well 7 is 3.5 or 14, neither of which is allowed, but it is actually allowed under Schrödinger. I could have a 6 and 8 in here, add up to 14, and that will actually be just fine. That's times 2 of the 7. So essentially Kropki dots 2-to-1 ratio. White dots, consecutives, that means this is 1 or 3. Can absolutely be a Schrödinger cell. I could have 0, 1 or 0, 3. All of that is fine. And then we've got the same things for x's and v's. These two cells add up to 5. These two cells add up to 10. And again, we're allowed Schrödinger cells on here. Not all x's or v's are given and not all dots are shown. So of course a 2 with a 3, a 6, clearly consecutive, clearly in a 2-to-1 ratio, clearly adding up to 10, clearly adding up to 5. The fact that there is no v, no x, no white dot, no black dot, all of that is allowed. Right, attempt 2. Let me restart the clock and see how I get on. And of course, link in the description down below for you to actually give this a go. Now, where this puzzle kind of threw me off is very much in this column. Because fundamentally, when you have two cells that have a black Kropki dot inside an equality cage, they can only ever be 3, 6. But that's because we're just not thinking about all of the possibilities in here for black Kropki dot digits. So 1, 2 pair is fine, 2, 4 pair is fine, 3, 6 pair is fine, 4, 8 pair is fine. We have to keep in mind that I can actually get away with 6 and 12. I can get away with, I've demonstrated, 7 and 14. And I can get away with 8 and 16. So you actually have a lot more options on black Kropki dots today than you might expect otherwise. Now, fundamentally, because it's an equality cage, I can only have values are under 10. So 12 and 6, 14 and 7, 16 and 8, all doesn't work. 3 and 6 is the only one that has a low digit and a high digit, and an odd digit and an even digit. The other 3 don't. However, 3, 6 could actually be done in multiple ways. The 3, I could have 0, 3, could have 1, 2. The 6, I could have, well, of course I could have 0, 6, but I could also have 1, 5, I could also have 2, 4. So essentially, this group of cells what am I going to say next? So because one of them is going to be a Schrödinger, not 2, I definitely have a 3, I definitely have a 6. And then there's another Schrödinger cell that's either adding up to a 3 with 1, 2, or adding up to 6 with 1, 5 or 2, 4. So the full pencil mark for this thing is 3, 6, no zeros, 1, 2, 1, 5, or 2, 4. That means the rest of this is, well, all the other digits. Okay? Right, let's see if we can keep going with this. One thing we can do is obviously highlight which one is the Schrödinger cell, and it means that everything else in this box is not a Schrödinger, everything else in this column is not a Schrödinger. And this is going to hopefully limit immensely our options on these black Kropki dots. At least these two. This one, again, I can do shenanigans in here, such as 7 with, 5, 9 to get to 14. So not entirely out of the water. Right, row 6. And remember, this is where I fundamentally made a mistake. Now, normally without Schrödinger cells, you would say 3 cells. Essentially, you have the powers of 2, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8. And then you have kind of, these are the black Kropki dot sets. So eventually you have to have a 2, 4 in here with 1, 2, 4, 8, 1, 2, 4, 8. And then there's a definite 2 or 4 in here. Then you break the V, because I can't have 4, 1, I can't have 2, 3. So we know that there has to be a Schrödinger cell somewhere in here to allow us to, hang on, is that true? No, it's not true, because I could do 0, 5, I could do 3 and 2, and then I don't actually have to have a Schrödinger cell in any of these. I could literally have 2, 4, right. Yeah. Like I've kind of already forgot what I've done a few hours ago. Right, before we go down this a bit further, think about this equality cage between box 4 and box 7. And the fundamental thing about these is that you have to have the parity of the cells to be the same for them to be both odd. Right, what am I saying? Right, 10s, 1, 9, 2, 8, 3, 7, 4, 6. Notice that to get to a 10, it's either both digits are odd, both digits are odd, or both digits are even. But in here, because I'm multiplying by 2, at a minimum, one of them will have to be even. That's just fundamentally the case. And remember, equality cages, the way we're evaluating this is based on values. So it almost doesn't matter what the composition is. So the value in here, one of them has to be even. Therefore, both of them have to be even. And then both of these have to be odd. I'm going to do something a little bit unusual just to remind myself of this. Right, let's go back to our black Kropki dots for a second and just think about it. Oh yeah, of course, we also have to remember that one of them is low, one of them is high. So in here, one of them is low, one of them is high. Right, so black Kropki dot digits, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. That's kind of one set. 3, 6, 12. That's another set. Do I have anything else? No, there are the power of 2. They're 3, 6, 12. Of course, I have the other set, which is just 5 and 10. And then 7 and 14. And then obviously the other digits are repeated elsewhere. So let's have a think about what this is. I can't have a 12 in here, and I can't have an odd digit in there. So I can't have a double 6. 3, 6, 12 is out. 5, 10 is out, neither of which is allowed inside the equality cage's values. 7, 14 is out because I'm after even digits and digits below 10. So it's got to be a run of 3 of these. Now you can immediately see that regardless of which 3 I pick, and remember it's got to include a high digit. 1 low, 1 high to match the 1 low, 1 high in terms of values, not digits, excuse me. So 1, 2, 4 just fundamentally doesn't work because I don't have a high digit in here. So 1 is off the table. That means that the 4, 8 is definitely in the middle as values. Again, I'm going to keep repeating this, not digits. And then the question is whether it's 2, 4, 8 or 4, 8, 16. Now 4, 8, 16 is obviously forced as 4, 8, 7, 9. Can't get 16 in anywhere else. And if that is the run, this will be the Schrödinger cell. If it is, however, 2, 4, 8, well, the Schrödinger cell of 2, which is just 0, is quite dull. The Schrödinger of 4 is 1, 3, which I don't think works. Yeah, I got to that conclusion last time, because if I have 1, 3, and let's say 8, how do I get to a 1, 9, 3, 7 solve? Because I'm using both of the 1, 3, I can't use any of them in here anymore. So even if I'm trying to do 3, 7, that would require 1, 2, which repeats the 1, but it requires a 3, which repeats the 3. So if I do have a Schrödinger cell with a 2, 4, and 8, it has to be the 8. And the 2 is not interesting. The 4 is not interesting because of the 1, 3 challenge that I just described. And the 8, I should have said the equality cages digits do not repeat. It does say that. So even though that 1, 3 and that 1, 3 are in different rows, columns, boxes, I can't repeat digits. Right. Where am I going with all of this? So I think fundamentally 2, 4, 8 or 4, 8, 16. Yeah, so the 16 can't be here. So there is a definite 4 in here. That much we can say for sure. 2, 4 doesn't work in there. You see, if this is 2, 4, this would have to be 7, 9. Right, so remember, there's definitely a 4, therefore there's definitely an 8. So it's either 4 and 8, or 4 and 1, 3. And then the 1, 3 gets me to the same trouble as last time. No, why is it 1, 3? The 8 could be something else. I could have 1, 7. No, 1, 7. Right, so let's just think about what this is. This is 1, 9 or 3, 7. Now, if I make the 8 add up to 1, 7, I've used one digit from both, and therefore that breaks the puzzle. So the 8 would have to be 2, 6 or 3, 5, both of which I think are allowed. Well, not the 2, 6, because if I make the 8 the Schrödinger cell, I couldn't make this 16 anymore. It would have to be 2, but then the 2, 6 wouldn't work. So if there is Schrödinger in here, it's 3, 5. So this is a complete pencil mark. And it is definitely 4, 8. And this is 1, 9, 3, 7. Okay. And this is either the 2 or the 16 with 7 and 9. Okay. We haven't quite ruled out a Schrödinger in these two cells, by the way, so careful. Let's have a think about what's going on with the rest of row 6 now. So fundamentally, this V, because I have to have a 4 in here, we've established that. This is not 1, 4, so my options are 0, 5 and 2, 3. Now, does 2, 3 work? I could still have 8. I could essentially have 4, 8, and then 7, 9. And then that could be 1. That could be 4. And that absolutely works. And 0, 5 also works. So this is my pencil mark. Which makes this either V as in it's adding up to 5, or X as in it's adding up to 10 if this is 0, or 7 or 8. So this is just not helpful. This cell is not 4, we know that. So it's essentially either 0, 5 or 1, 2, 3, which is like ludicrous. And therefore 0, 5, 2, 3, or 4. Fundamentally, there is now a 6 in here, because I haven't used it in any of these pencil marks. I think I've actually used everything else. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, 7, 8, 9. And 6 is not here because we've used it in there. What if we make the 8, 3, 5? Like, look at this setup here. So I would remove the 3, 5 as options. And then I have two cells that can't possibly add up to 5 anymore. So the 8 can't be a 3, 5. Has to be 4, 8. Re-add the 3, 5 in here. And then this cell could still be Schrödinger with 7, 9. Or it could be a 2. I don't know what I'm missing. I mean, I feel like I need to think about this V next. This column that I've also ignored. I mean, especially the equality cage. Remember, I've used the 3 and the 6. So this cell here, which is not 3, 6, or 4, 8, let's just think about what it could be. Can't be 0, multiple of it would be 0. Yeah, 1 doesn't work because multiple of it would be 2, and then I've removed the 1, 2 option for both 3 and 6, so it can't be 1. 2 could work if I make this 4. That would make this 7, 9. Remove 2 from here, but I could still have 0, 5. Yeah. And then this could be 1 or 3. All of that seems fine. 3 is out of the picture. 4 is out of the picture. 5 doesn't work in equality cages. 6 is out. 7 doesn't work because that would be 14. 8 is out. And 9 doesn't work. So this is forced. This is 2. Which removes the 2 from here. And therefore it removes the 2, 4 option. And this is essentially, we're repeating the 6 with 1, 3, 5, 6. 1, 5, and 3, 6. And this one here couldn't be a 1. It has to be a 4. That removes the 2 from all of these. With the 2 gone on the V, that is 0, 5. 0, 5 tells me this is definitely, all right, okay. Yeah, this is definitely now Schrödinger. All of these are definitely not. This is now definitely Schrödinger, and it's not 7 or 8. It's 2 cells, 2 digits that add up to 5 or 10, depending on what this is. This is now not 0 or 5, and therefore this is 2 or 4. And then to complete this, this is 1, 3, 6. 1 doesn't work here because that would require a 2. 3 doesn't work here because that would require a 6. So that has to be 6. That would have to be 3. This is not 3. This is the 3. This is the 1. That's the 2. This is probably huge for this equality cage, but I just want to... 2, 4, I think requires 7, 9. Yeah. Can't have anything other than 7 in here, and then the 9. And then the 9 tells me this is 6, 8. Yeah, I seem to be repeating the same problem I had last time. I really do seem to be repeating it. I was so careful. I was incredibly careful. So what have I done that is wrong? In a different window, I just don't want to have it on here. I'm just going to check the comments because I definitely remember somebody saying something around the fact that I had row 6, column 1 wrong. Yeah, I made the same mistake again. How did I make the same mistake again? I feel like the logic was flawless. Wow, I'm kind of rewinding quite a bit here. Right, here's the missed logic. Yeah, 248 is kind of what I'm obsessed with. I forgot some possibilities of 484, and of course 848. Ouch. Now, definite 4 makes this 0523, makes this VX or 78, makes this 05123. All of these are allowed. Now obviously the 4 8s, because of course I could have the repeated digit as a Schrödinger, really throws me off my game here. Now fundamentally, this being 4 8 doesn't change, does it? 2 4 is two low digits, doesn't work with this. 4 8 works, and 8 16 doesn't. So this is still a 4 8 pair, but the 8 or the 4, not the 4, we've established the 4 doesn't work, the 1 3 throws it off. Throws off these two cells. So the 8 could be a Schrödinger. Yeah. And as a result, over here, I'm going to say nothing stops me from having a 1 3 for the 4. Nothing stops me from having a 1 7 for a repeated 8. Nothing stops me from having a 2. Nothing stops me from having a 9. Does 2 6 work for the 8? Maybe. So I can't even pencil mark the 6 in here like I wanted to. And of course 3 5. Right, now last time we kind of dismissed the 3 5 fairly quickly. If I have 3 5 and it's a Schrödinger cell, I break the puzzle. So fundamentally, the 3 of 5 option to add up to 8 just doesn't work. What about the 1 3 option here? 3 and 1. That would make this 0 5. That would make this 2. That would make this 3. That would make this 1 9. If that's 1 3, I think that's okay. So this could still be a 3. I think 2 6 is problematic, isn't it? I remove the 2 from here. That ends up being 0 5. That ends up being 1 3. That ends up being 2 4. 2 6 would make this 8. This would be 4. This would be 8. I mean, for the moment, I'm not seeing the problem with that. If this is a 2-3 pair, what happens? I could still get away with a 1-7 for the 8. I need more information to make progress, don't I? So I'm quite happy with their 3-5 removal. The 1-7 breaks this cell. The 2-6, what's wrong with 2-6 for the 8? Removes a 2, forces this to be 0-5, forces this to be 1-3. 2-6 would be gone. So this would have to be 7-9. Oh, hang on, that breaks it. If it's 2-6, that's the Schrödinger cell, and then I can't have 2 and I can't have 7-9. Right, so 2-6 is out, 3-5 is out, 1-7 is out because of this. So this is just fundamentally 4-8. And then the question is whether this is a value of 2, 4, 8, or 16 in here. The 2 and 16 means that this is 2, 7, or 9. The 1-3, I feel like I should be able to dismiss this fairly quickly. So 0-5 or 2-3. So if it's 1-3, there's no 3, therefore there's no 2. That ends up being 0-5. So I would have to have, it's not Schrödinger, because this would be with the 1-3. And therefore it's not 0, 1. It would have to be 2. It would have to be 3. 1-3 fundamentally seems like it works. For the moment. So 4-8-4 in essence. So the 2 is considered, the 16 is considered, the 4 is considered, the 8 is the last one that I'm really disliking. I happen to know from the comment that it is an 8. I don't know how to eliminate the others. And the reason I dislike the 8 is it stops me from making progress with adding a 6 in here, because fundamentally 2-6 is fine. Now 1-7, 2-6, and 3-5. Now 3-5 I can dismiss immediately because it would make this V unsolvable. 2-3 is out, 0-5 is out. 1-7 is supposedly the correct answer, but 2-6 is the one that throws off the rest of the game. Why is 2-6 problematic? Let's just have a think about this. So the 2 is gone, which makes this a 0-5 pair. And then in here, it's not 2, 4, 8, or so like essentially 1-3 is left, and this is 2-4. Then the rest of the row is 7, 9. Remember, it's not 0. It's not, 1-3. Yes. Now, the 1 here we've already established doesn't work. 3 in here. So yeah, the 7-9 is why it doesn't work, because I can't have it in a black Kropki dot inside an equality cage. So the 2-6 option is gone, which means these are fundamentally my options. I'm going to remove these pencil marks because they're not quite right. 0-5, 2, 3, and then there's a definite 6 in one of these two cells. No 4, but I could have 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 0, 5, 2, 3, 4. So a reminder of these options. There could be 2. It couldn't be 0, 2, mind you, because it would break this 1. It could be 1, 3. It could be 1, 7. And it could be 7, 9. So these are fundamentally my options. What does it do for this equality cage cell? Because this is not 4, 8, not 3, 6. This is 1 or 2. And it can't be 1 because that would be a 2, and then I remove the 2 options. So that is always 2. That is always 4, which removes my 2 options. So this is still correct. 2, 3 option in here. This is now 0, 5. That's gone as an option in there. That is no longer a 2. That is no longer a 3. So my options of 1, 3, 1, 7, and 7, 9 are all still possible. 1, 3 breaks this cell. So 1, 3 is out. So it's 1, 7 or 7, 9. There's always a 7 in here, which means these cells, because if it is 1, 7, so essentially I've got 1, 3, 7. This would end up being 6, 9. That would be the 6. That would be the 9. Again, the 9 can't be on a black Kropki dot, even if it's got a Schrödinger around it. So you'd end up with 6, and definitely a 3 because it's inside an equality cage. Yes. That's if it's 1, 7. If it's 7, 9, however, I have essentially another 1, 3 in here with the 6. The 1 can't be there because that would require a 2. The 3 can't be here because that would require a 6, and the 6 would have to be here to complete the row. So that is always 6, that is always 3. This is not a 3. This is always an 8 then. Inside the... No, hang on. I could do 1, 7. So this is not 1, 2. Therefore, it is not Schrödinger. This is not Schrödinger because 2, 4 is not available. And 1, 5 is not available. So this is not Schrödinger either. And then I have 1, 3, 7, 9 between these 4 cells. 2 and 4 in here forces 7, 9. This has to be the 7, this has to be the 9, this has to be the 6, 8. So this is still correct, and this is therefore red, and therefore all of these are green. Which makes this red, and almost certainly forces this to be 1, 7. Actually, the 2, 4 in here tells me this is now 1, 3, 5, 6. And these cells are 0 and 8. This 6, 8 tells me that's a 0. That's the 8. That can't be an 8 anymore. That is a Schrödinger cell. I'm going to say of 1, 7. Because it's not 8, it's not 2, 6, and it's not 3, 5. So this is 1, 7. That is a 9. And therefore that is not a 9. And there had to be a 7. So it is 1, 7. And therefore that is a 3. That has to be a 2. And then the remaining cells in here are 0 and 5. This, of course, is no longer 7, 8, because this is 0 or 5. Don't need the corner pencil mark anymore. This 7 removes the 3, 7 option in here. Remember, the 9 can still be, so I'm going to clean these up a bit. This is now red, Schrödinger. These are not. This is definitely a Schrödinger. And then potentially one of these is. So could the 2, actually no, hang on. This is Schrödinger, so all of these are green. This is Schrödinger, all of these are green. So we have to have a Schrödinger cell inside the equality cage. Right, let's carry on with our greens now, because they're proving to be quite important to reduce how much we need to think about. This 8 needs a value that's consecutive, and therefore it's 7 or 9. inside an equality cage, this would have to be 2 or 4. Because it's 1, 7, it can't be a 7. That is a 9. Okay, so we kind of need to, all right. So in my previous solve, I used the 0 to basically determine what's going on in here. Now, fundamentally, these are too low values. These are too high values to make the equality cage work. This means that this value has to be 3 or 4, and it's not 3. It would have to be a 4. A 4 could be 4 with a 1, or it could be a 1, 3, which it couldn't be because that would have to be another 1. So this is all not Schrödinger, and it's green. And this has to be an 8, but remember, could be Schrödinger. There's one of these is Schrödinger. And this is definitely adding up to an 8, and this is a 7. So there's definitely an 8, 7. In terms of values, the question is, what are they in terms of digits? So if this is 8, well, it could be 0, 8, it couldn't be 1, 7, it couldn't be 2, 6, and it couldn't be 3, 5. So there's a definite 8 in here for sure. But I still could have 0, 8. Let's think about what these cells are. So actually, I'm going to remove the 8 for a second. So these cells are not 1, 2. They could be 3. They're not 4. They could be 5. They're not 6, 7, 8. And they're not 9. So this is just a 3, 5 pair. Right? Then the 9 is in none of these cells. So the 9 has to be in here. And then these are 0, 6, 7, 8. But essentially, I think I have to have the 0 in here, the 6 out there, and the 0 is the Schrödinger cell alongside an 8 or a 7. Then the 0 is in here, and this would have to be a 4. Right, this is already looking much better. So all I did was I kind of completely forgot around the fact I could do 4, 8, 4 because of the Schrödinger cells. Because this is 8, that's 4, that's 8. So what am I missing in here? I've got 1, 2 could be anywhere, 3 is only in here, 4, 5 is there, 6 is placed, 7, 8, 9. So this is fully pencil marked now. So essentially there's another 2, 3, 5 and a 7, 8. So 0, 1, so 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I think I've got them all. On the black Kropki dot, actually the 6. On the black Kropki dot, can't have 2 because the 1 and 4 are gone. So the 2 is gone from here. 3, 6 works quite well. 5 with a 10. With the remaining digits, I could still actually get to 3, 7 to a 10. So 5 on here is possible. 3 and 6 is possible. 7 with 6 and 8 is possible. And therefore 8 with, goodness me, I can't actually eliminate anything. That is not an 8. The 5, because that would require a 10, I can remove the 5. So this is 3, 6, or 7. The 3 could work because I would have to add up to 6 or 8 in here. And either of which is allowed, I could have a Schrödinger cell again in here. The 3 is not a Schrödinger cell because I can't use 1, 2. So this would have to be the Schrödinger cell. To get to 6, because remember, I would have the 6 in here. So 3 with a 6, with a 1, 5. No, not 1, 5. 2, 4. I think works. And then I won't have 3 in here, so I would have 2 and 5. 2 and 5. And this would have to be a Schrödinger cell of 7, 8, which is not possible. Like, I'm going to just double check this. 3 requires a 6. Can't get to 1, 5, can't get to 2, 4. And I can't do 1, 2. So these would all be non-Schrödinger. Then I would need to get to an 8 or a 6, neither of which is allowed. So I would have to do something that is either 1, 5 to get to the 6, which is not possible. 2, 4 to the 6, which is possible. 1, 7 is possible. No, because I've got the 7 already. 2, 6 isn't, and 3, 5 isn't. So this would have to be 6. But then notice now, this is not 2, 3, or 6. And then the 3 would make this 2, would make this 5, and then suddenly this is a Schrödinger cell. So long story short, this can't be 3. This could be 6 with a 3. A 7, presumably with a, can't be 5, 9, so it would have to be 6, 8. So there's always a 6 in one of these two cells. Now the 6 would need 1 or 3 in here. And then this 7 would require 2 or 4 in here. A 6 with a 3 would mean this is 1, 2. Well, no, hang on. A 6 would require a 3 there. But then I can't get to a 3 or a 1 because the 1, 9 is gone, the 3 is gone, and the 1, 2 is gone. So 6 doesn't work. This is 7, and this is 6, 8. This is my Schrödinger cell. Making these not 6, 8s, making all of these not Schrödingers. Neither of these, of course. Now the 7 would require a 2 or 4. This is no longer 7, but I end up with a 2, 3, 5 triple. Bit of a shame. And then it's 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, not a 4. Not brilliant. So I'm either adding up to a 5, and it can't be 0, 5, and it can't be 2, 3, and it can't be 1, 4. So I'm not adding up to a 5. I am adding up to a 10, and therefore this is 0, and this is 5, and therefore this is 3, and this is 5. And this is my Schrödinger cell adding up to 10. And to add up to 10, well, it's not 0, 10. It's not 1, 9. It is definitely 2, 8. It's not 3, 7, and it's not 4, 6. This is 2, 8. Yeah, we haven't really kind of concluded this. Whoa, 40 minutes solve. Plus the previous 30 minutes. So we're rocking. That's all I can say. I really wish there's a way to enter double digits and Sudoku pad, so I can actually discern between the kind of pencil marks and actually completed digits beyond just the colors. But I guess given I've already got all of these, I may as well complete the column. So the column fundamentally is saying the remaining digits are 1, not 2, 3, 4, not 5, not 6, 7. Now this is not 3, can't have a 7 in a non-Schrödinger cell in here. The 4, I think, fundamentally doesn't work. Because remember, this is 3 or 6 in value. So this can only be a 3. And therefore, this is a 6 in value. And it's either 1, 5 or a 6. We don't know which yet. Now, this has to add up to 10. And remember, this is 3, 6 in value. So this is either 4 or 7 in value. That's not a 1. Too many options. Actually, this is not 1 or 7. This is just 4. This is 7. This is 1. Therefore, this is 3. And remember, the 3 is not the Schrödinger cell in here. So we can remove that and color it green. This one of these is the Schrödinger cell. Okay. This equality cage now feels like it's been heavily restricted by the fact that I've placed a 1 and 3. In fact, that 1 tells me that's not a 1, and therefore it's not 1, 5, it is a 6. And therefore this is not Schrödinger, this is Schrödinger with a 1, 5 pair. And therefore none of these are Schrödinger. And this should be interesting, kind of. 1 and 3 are gone. So this is 2, 4, 7 for the equality cage with a definite 7. That gives me a 2, 4, 7 triple, and therefore the remaining digits are also known. These are 0, 6, and 8. Not an 8. Not an 8 either. Only place for an 8 is in here. I don't know which one is the 0, so I can't quite use that yet. Not a 4, of course. Not a 7, of course. That's a 1, 7. So that is the 7. I should probably pencil mark what's going on in here. So I've got 0. I need 1. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 6, 7, and 9. And seemingly they can go anywhere. I don't want to pencil mark that. Actually, the 1 is placed. 1, 7, and 1. That's just 1. Remember, these could be Schrödingers. However, I still need to have fundamentally low values. And these low values no longer include 1 or 3. So it is definitely 2 or 4. The 2 doesn't matter if it's a Schrödinger, it's 0, 2, or it's 1, 3 for the 4, which it isn't. So this is a 2, 4 pencil mark, and this is a 9 pencil mark. But remember, these are values. This could still be 0, so I can't eliminate that this is potentially a Schrödinger. Actually, 7 is not here. This is 7. No. I've broken something again. How do I keep doing this? I think I keep ignoring the fact that some things are Schrödingers and not doing Sudoku. You see, where is 7 in box 5? Well, according to this cell, which has a 7, it's not here, and this cell, it's not there. I've left no room for it. Rewind quite a bit. Sorry. Right, so the 2, 8 is fundamentally correct. I am not adding up to, let me just kind of rewind a bit. I can't add up to a 5 because 0, 5 is gone. 1, 4 is gone, 2, 3 is gone. So that has to be an X. which means this has to be the 0. And this has to be the 5, this has to be the 3, this has to be the 5. I'm happy with that. Then I'm in trouble. Because according to this, 1, 7 and 1, 7, I need to place the 1, 7 in these two cells, which I can't. This cannot get to 10 with 3, 7. This cannot get to 10 with 1, 9. So I've broken it even earlier. So my only rewind is all the way back. Wow. In here. So this is 3, 4 in value. That hasn't changed. Even if it is 4, it's not 1, 3. So this is definitely 4. Without the 0, that is definitely not Schrödinger. Without the 0, this is definitely just 1. The Schrödinger cell is in one of these two cells. Yep. These are not Schrödinger. One of them is, and then one of these two is. And then these are not. This is an 8. It could be 0, 8, can't be 1, 7, can't be 2, 6, can't be 3, 5. And then this can't be 9. Yeah, I may have made a mistake here. I could have a Schrödinger 9, whilst 0, 9 is out and 1, 8 is out, and 2, 7 is out, 3, 6 isn't. Yeah. That was the mistake I made. And 4, 5 is out. Now the 7, 0, 7 isn't out, but 1, 6 is out, 2, 5 is out, 3, 4 is out. So this is correct. There's a definite 8 now in here. There's no question about it. This can't be 0, 5, can't be 1, 4, can't be 2, 3. It has to be an X. So this is not V, and therefore this has to be 0. This has to be 5. Yep. Now these pencil marks, which include 0, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, 7, or 8, or 9. This is not 0 or 3, that's 4 or 5. This is not 0, or 4, or 5 here. Okay. One tells me that that's a 1. If this is, what was it again, to add up to 9, 3, 6, that would be 0, that would be 5. That's actually fine. And it is very likely that, given the trouble we ran into with the 1, 7, up here, if it isn't that. Okay. Can I do a bit more pencil marking? Probably. No 3s. Is a 3. These are just now known. 4, 2, 4, 5. Not a 2. 4, 5 pair. Sorry. Not a 4. 2, 4, 5. And then of course the 6, 8. It gives me 2 more in here. So I need 0 and 8, I'm going to say. And then in there, I'm guessing it's 2, 4, 7. Definite 7, but no point pencil marking that. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Right, these all look good. To get to 10, so this could be 1, 9. It could be 2, 8. It's not 3, 7. It's not 4, 6. Now the 9 still doesn't work. You see, 9 forces a 9 in here. That is still correct, and therefore this is not 1, 9. This is 2, 8. 1 is still in here. 7 is still, has to be now in here, which removes the 0, 7 option. This is 3, 6. And this is Schrödinger. This isn't. It's a definite 8, and it's green. And therefore this is 0. This is 5. This is the remaining digit of 7. That is 4. That is 3. This is not 4. This is a 2, 5 pair. These 3 cells are now known. Four, 6, 9. Not a 9. And in fact, these 4 cells now are also known. 1, 3, 4, 6. Except this cell is not 1 or 3. Now this is a value of 3 or 6. So that can't be 1, can't be 4. This is 3, 6. And this is a value of 3 or 6. And the only way to get to a 10 is a 4 with the 6. 3 and 7 are out. So this has to be 4. This has to be 6. This has to be 3. This has to be 1. This has to be a 6, but it doesn't have to be an actual 6. And same in here. So this is a 1, 5, 6 pair. And this is a non-Schrödinger cell. But one of these is. Okay. No 6s in here. 3, 6. Remember, you just need to do a bit of Sudoku with these things. And of course, the 4 in here gave me 9 and 4. This is not 4. So what am I adding here? I actually know what these are. I need a 0. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 5 and 7. In here, I need, I've got 0, 1. I need 2. Can't have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Right. This needs to help me now. This equality cage, which needs a low digit and high digit. This is clearly the high digit. It could be 0, 7, or it could be just 7. But it's not 0, it's not 5. Therefore, this has to be the 2. This is not a 2. These are not 2s. This is definitely the 7. There are no 7s. It doesn't stop it from being 0, 5, 0, 7, but it's definitely the 7, which gives me 4, 2, and 7. The fact that this is, hang on, I'm missing a digit. I'm missing a 6. Because I need all of them. Right, so if this is a 6, this would have to be 1 or 3, which it isn't. And I can't do 1, 2. So I can still eliminate the 6. It still requires the 7. I can still eliminate the 5. This would have to be a 2. This is not a 2, not a 7. This is 4, 2, 7. I can remove the 7s from in here. But these being 0, 5, 6 doesn't really change. This 9 tells me that's an 8. That's a 9. Yeah, I'm worried about what this is going to bring. The rest of it looks fine, but I'm just worried that once again I've fundamentally missed an opportunity for something. I haven't thought about all the options, and then I'm going to try and solve this box, and it's going to break again. 0, 1, 2, not 3, not 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the full pencil marks. Right, it's still an equality cage and a black Kropki dot. They can't both be Schrödinger cells. 5 with a 10, as in 2 and 8. So let's just think about the black Kropki dot. 2 fundamentally doesn't work. The 1 and 4 are not available, as is 1, 3. So 2 is off the table. 5, hang on. 2 as the starter doesn't work. 2 as part of the 8 does with the 5. So 2, 5, 8 works as a combo. 5 is back with the 2, 5, 8. 6 would require a 3 or a 12, and I could do 6 with 5, 7. 7 to get to 14 with 6, 8 is also possible. And then 8, of course, would be, well, half of it is 4, it doesn't work. 7, 9 doesn't work. So the 8 would have to be in combination with these. Okay. You see, 2, 5, 8 doesn't work because it would make this either 5 or 10, neither of which is allowed inside it. Fundamentally. And the 5, 6, 7, well, the 6 could work. Well, then this would have to be 1 or 3. 1 is not available, 3 is not available, and 1, 2 is not available. So 2, 5, 8 is struggling. 5, 7 doesn't work because that's 12. So 5, 6, 7 doesn't work. So this is actually 6, 7, 8. And then the 6 and 8 are adding up to 14. So they're going to be the ones in here, adding up to 14. This is going to be the 7. This is 2 or 4. Both of which are still available. This becomes Schrödinger. This isn't. And therefore I can remove 6, 8, and 7. And I end up with a 2, 5 pair, of course. And then these are, I need a 0 still, which is in here. So this is 0, 2, 4, 5 with a definite 0. So the Schrödinger cell is in one of these 3. I don't have any of these. None of these are Schrödingers anymore. This equality cage is probably going to help me. So 1, 6 is an option. 3, 8 removes the others. It breaks the cell, because that would be 5 on its own. So 1, 6 doesn't work. So this is fundamentally just 4, 7. 1, 7 in here says this is 4, this is 7. Hopefully it hasn't broken anything. Doesn't seem it. Okay. This cell, it's not 0, 1, it's not 1, 2, it's not anything with 3 or 4. It could be 5, 6, and it could be 8, 9. So it could be 9 and 8, or 5, 6. This now has an 8. This is, of course, because this is an 8, this is 4, this is 8. I don't know why I ignored this for so long. I probably made this harder for myself. That's not a 4. Only place for a 4 now is in here. 0, 2, 5. No, doesn't resolve. This adds up to 10. If it's 6 in here, in fact, there's another Schrödinger in here. So these are not Schrödingers. And there's 1 in there. And remember, it's a combination. So we know it's either adding up to 5 or 6, even if there's a 0. It's not adding up to 11. Now, if it's 5, I would need another 5 in here. And it couldn't be 0, 5. Couldn't be 1, 4. It would have to be 2, 3, which is possible. So 5 is possible. 6 would require a 4, so that would have to be 1, 3. That would need to be a 3. Hang on. There's always a 3. It's either 2, 3 or it's 1, 3. Is that what I'm saying? I think so. Because if it's 6, it needs to be 4, and it's not available. If it's 5, but it can't be 1, 4, and it can't be a repeated 5, and it's not 0, 5, it's 2, 3. So this is always Schrödinger. These are not. These two are not Schrödinger anymore. And therefore this has to be the 6. This has to be the 1, 5. This is not Schrödinger. This is. And the only way it works is if it's 7 and 0, which makes this 8, makes this 0, makes this not 0, makes this not 0 again. This is a 5, 6 pair. This 1, 5 tells me that's the 6, that's the 5, and therefore this has to be 2, 3 to get to a 5. That's not a 5, that's not a 6. In fact, that's not a 6 either. So this is 8, 9. Sorry, 1, I hope. 9, 1. 0. These two cells are just known. 5 and 6. 6 and 5. Because of this 6, 8. That's not a 5. These are still not resolved. That's fine. So let's have a think about what is going on here. So we've got the 1 down. 0 could be in a lot of places. 2. So 2 is in here. 3. It's just there. Therefore that's 5. That's 0. That's 2. That's 5. That's 2. This is just a place digit, a 6. This is just a place digit, a 0, which gives me a 5, a 0. Another place digit, an 8. No. A 5. And then a last digit, 9. Wow. I was actually really wondering if once you solve it, the fact that you haven't filled these in, it would actually solve. And I was kind of wondering, how does it solve? But it does. gUBBLOR, this was quite the tax, if I'm honest. And I think it's just fundamentally, if you're not familiar with Schrödinger's and you kind of make assumptions about what the values could be. I mean, this one threw me off. This one threw me off. And I think the rest of it was as smooth of a sailing as this could possibly have been. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video. This is a very long one by now. I am at over an hour already as far as the solve goes. But see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.